Good to have you all here. Topic today is unlocking the potential of AI for global hidden champions. And perhaps before we start that panel, we may already say thank you to partners of the AI House, to ETH Zurich. That already was a great success. With that AI House, we really created a great lighthouse at the World Economic Forum. And many people rushing in, probably because we all associate artificial intelligence with a real game changer, associated with visions, ambitions, positive things, but perhaps also with some fears and people saying, well, fools rush in where angels fear to tread. But however, from both perspectives, it's a game changer. Now, probably it makes a lot of sense at the last day of the forum to discuss that game-changing approach with global hidden champions. We talk about global hidden champions, we think of a special type of companies. Very often, world market leaders, technology leaders, usually tier 1, tier 2 suppliers, well known in their respective sector, not so much known in the broader public, and very often it's hard to even understand the product they are producing. However, these companies, from a certain perspective, may be the opposite of a game changer. They are something like gamekeepers. They make sure that our big industrial ecosystems keep running. And even if the car crashes down and the airplane falls into pieces, you still could take out their turbines or their membranes or sensors and they would work for another 10 years. That's what we associated with hidden champions. Now, is that all history? Will AI completely change the game? Or the opposite, will AI help these companies to be ready for the next generations and fit for the future? That's what we would like to discuss with our panelists today, and let me quickly introduce them. Now, Dr. Frauke Goll sitting next to me, she's the Managing Director of the Applied AI Institute for Europe. Later on you have to explain us a little bit more what the Applied AI Institute is doing. She has studied technical business administration at University Stuttgart, received her PhD at the Graduate School of Excellence in Advanced Manufacturing Engineering, and worked many positions in the automotive industry until she became head of Applied AI Institute, and she's also head of strategy at FZI, Research Center for Information Technology in Karlsruhe. Warm welcome. Next to you. Next we have Professor Helmut Krcmar, received his PhD in Business Administration at the University of Saarland, the chair for Information Systems at the University of Hohenheim. Since 2022, he had the chair for Information Systems at TUM Technical University Munich. He's the head of the Krcmar Lab at the TUM Department for Computation Information Technology, one of the few, if not the only, out of these 600-something professors who have a lab with his own name. Congratulations to that. Helmut Krcmar is also the delegate of TUM's president for the TUM Campus Heilbronn. Warm welcome. Patrick Eichenseer, he's head of operational excellence at DEHN company. DEHN is a leading supplier of surge and lightning protection. And again, you may a little bit later give us a little bit more details. Patrick Eichenseer has a master in industrial engineering and management, and currently, I think, working on his PhD in data-oriented shop floor management. Warm welcome, Patrick Eichenseer. So, Timo Gessmann, CTO of Schunk. Schunk, probably known to at least some people, world market leader in tool holding, gripping technology for manufacturing systems, for roboting systems. He is an engineer, graduated from the Baden-Württemberg Cooperative State University, DHBW. Worked for Bosch long time, among other positions. Timo Gessmann was the head of the Bosch IoT Lab and the founder of startup initiatives, technology initiatives. Warm welcome, Timo Gessmann. Last but not least, I'm your moderator, Daniel Gottschalk, Managing Director of the TUM Campus Heilbronn GmbH, which is a joint venture between Technical University Munich and Dieter Schwarz Foundation. Now, let's dive into the topic, and perhaps we do it just in the order of the seating with some statements. Frauke Goll, Applied AI Institute for People. When you check the webpage, it says, for Europe, when you check the webpage, it says it's for people. And SME, in particular, are people business. So perhaps you could explain a little bit. Why is there something like an Applied AI Institute? Are SME part of your target group? How does your work look like?
Okay, perfect. Thank you for this kind introduction. I'm very happy to be here and tell you a bit about the Applied AI Institute. So actually, we're an open access accelerator for trustworthy AI, and we do so by empowering professionals. And this is the kind you said with the people, where the people come in. We want to empower professionals to develop and apply, and this is important because this is a holistic approach, latest AI technologies. So yes, SMEs are the target group in two senses, I would say. So first of all, as you mentioned, yeah, there are the people, the professionals, and when it comes to new technologies and innovation, and empowering what is our task that we do, then of course new technologies like AI need to get into the organization, and this is through learning, through education, but also through change management, you could say. So when it comes to this point, we support organizations, whether they are non-profit, SMEs, or what kind ever, to educate their people, to bring them further, whether they're on beginners in AI or really deep experts. So we have also one department that is the transfer lab that is there for experts. So they're also doing research and are also very connected to the universities as well. But with a look at the companies, and especially the small, medium-sized companies and the global hidden champions, as this is also our panel, there is another topic besides this education and change. And I think for them to be really at the forefront and implementing new technologies and yeah, keep them up, it is really important that they have experts at their hands that help them doing, because this is the most important fact in my opinion. So AI is here to stay. And therefore, everyone, and especially as those global hidden champions, need to think about how they can use and how what AI can do for them and how they can implement it. And therefore, it is important that they, for this doing and getting in touch with it, it's very important that they have a kind of a harbor where they can come together and see, okay, what can I do? What are the use cases I can use AI for? Who could help me, for example? Who is an expert to give me what I need to implement it in my company? And this is what we do. So we have the education part. We are looking also, of course, at regulation questions, and we have use cases and experience centers, so you can, get in touch with AI technologies, but also find experts. And of course, we are collaborating with different universities and other companies to bring SMEs forward.
Wonderful. Just one additional question. Is that difficult? Motivating the SME and bringing these people together, or are you kicking in open doors?
I would say this is a differential, you could say, because on the one hand side, you really have those companies that are very open to innovation, and they often come and say, okay, I heard something about AI, but how can I use it and what can I do? I really want to do something with it. And then you says, okay, so let's figure out what you can do. So what data do you have? And then you sit there and see, okay, now it gets difficult because the data is not in that sense that you can use it for AI technology. So you have to do some basic work also to get them ready to use AI technologies within their companies. So you have those that are open and that want to do something. And on the other hand side, I also see a lot of fears, you could say, because there are also a lot of people that don't know exactly what can AI do and what can AI not do. And they are afraid of those runaway AIs that run over through us. And they don't believe that you need AI technologies in the future and that this will be it is our future, right? So when it comes to this point, then sometimes you also have to start at a basis to teach what is AI about and what can it do. So you have both sides. Those that are willing to implement and that are really open, that are searching for collaboration and really are at the forefront, going ahead and implementing, and you have those that are a bit skeptical, and that's not that easy.
Thank you. Helmut Krcmar, you're working at the TUM campus Heilbronn, located in one of Germany's region with the highest density of global hidden champions, world market leaders. It's one of the reasons why Technical University Munich went there. And you and your colleagues, you are continuously doing research on the digital transformation in that area. So what is your impression about the state of play? Are SME ready for the AI transformation? Where do they stand?
Well, first of all, thanks for the wonderful question. Are they ready? TUM Munich went to this area in Heilbronn because there are so many world market leaders. Two of them, even though one comes from Bavaria and one from the other state, are sitting here, and they are ready. Others in overall elements of digital transformation, and generative AI is just one more, but very fundamentally changing aspect in that, is that we did an empirical investigation into what's called a research barometer. And the insight was similar to what you said. Many companies of medium size, and so you understand that that is companies that have between 250 million and 5 billion revenue. So it's not small. They're owner-led and very often very specific, very focused. And we could say they all think about it. Only if you are acting on the thought. So they start to unlock the potential, because what they are used to and what they have been trained to is to make a plan, calculate the business case, and then execute exactly one business case, and they hope it really works. Now, when you spend more time here in this room or other conversations, you realize that Gen AI is a discovery process at this time. And even though not a discovery process of algorithms and technologies, but more a discovery process of fit between what the technology can actually do, what the organization really needs, or which problems that need to be solved, and the capabilities in people, in data availability, in governance structure. And that's a different thing, because you can't go into a book and look for best practice, because the best practice that we will record about other IT systems is today best past practice. We never had generative AI tools at hand that can do what these tools can do. So it's similar to what I've seen in the PC revolution, where everybody wondered, what does it do if you have a personal, not central, personal computer at hand? How does it change work? And how does it change work if you have the internet available for everybody and you can use and look stuff up? And what happens if it becomes mobile? So now we have to train people that they need to go back to discovery process, that they need to allow their people to really check out and find out which problem can you solve with that. We talk about digital savvy employees that dare do it, because the top-notch echelon that has been trained on balance sheet analysis and Excel sheet analysis of business cases really doesn't know the problems on the shop floor or the problems in the machines, but these are the ones that you can solve. Same thing for data. But that's not just small companies. We work with very large car manufacturers where data is there. But yesterday the Federal Ministry of Finance was here, and he talked about a project to catalog the data sources within the federal government. And the question was coming up from the journalist, well, doesn't the federal government own their data sources? And the answer was no. The same applies to even the smallest companies. We have been working with many of them, and their data sources are hidden in Excel sheets, in individual applications, in different software pieces. And then you think about Gen AI as having one data source to learn from. What would happen if you ask, it's federated learning galore, you don't even know where you can find something. So it's really a very interesting combination to bring that along. Combine that with the family-owned structure, with a specific governance structure on who decides. So it's not to convince, in Timo's case, I know that, not just to convince a board of people, but a person to actually invest into a thing that is equivalent to the next vacation. Okay? So you think about that in a different way. And it's not like, okay, we have an abundance of experts hanging around, because all these world market leaders are focused and lean. And if you are focused and lean, then you need to have a different aspect of this discovery process. So we think it's very important that from an academic point of view, and universities, you might know what they do, we work in producing knowledge. So we are now in this very interesting state of producing knowledge for a new age of using generative AI. So we learn as much as we can, but it's very interesting if OpenAI says, okay, every 3 months we'll bring up something fundamentally new, translate, unlearn again what you've learned in the last 3 months, because now there's a new tool. And that is very, very interesting. And I think you will hopefully say us something on how do you actually get your organization to start working with it at a time when you know that in 3 months, when this proof of concept will go into production, something new will be already around.
Thank you, Helmut. Yeah, Patrick Eichenseer, that was a perfect intro for your part. You are at DEHN responsible for manufacturing excellence, process excellence, and in your description you wrote AI already plays an important role in process optimization, at least for your company. So perhaps you could go a little bit more into detail. What role does it play in your daily work?
Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction. In our role from the operational excellence side, we are basically responsible for process optimization. So as you mentioned, on the one hand, manufacturing excellence side, which means process automation, digitalization in the production. On the other hand, process excellence, where we focus on administrative areas, and there we have the focus on our core processes from order to cash, purchase to pay, demand to supply, and so on. All core and supporting processes that, yeah, let's say, steers our organization. For us, AI plays a significant role because we experience that our solutions are more efficient and effective compared to the traditional methods. So we use AI on the one hand to make our projects better in regard to the project procedure. On the other hand, with AI, we have a solution on hand that impacts significantly our output in the project. When we use an AI tool, we have much more better processes compared to standard process according to the traditional procedures. And the advantage here is we, as global hidden champion, we see ourselves as an representative. We were successful by fast decision-making processes and flat hierarchies. So how were we successful? Basically by a bottom-up approach. So we did not say our board, we want to use AI because AI is cool. We had interested people that they did that, let's say, as an secret project. Nobody knows out of that. They were interested in AI, then they make a deep dive into that, and then first projects come out from the nowhere. This is how we were successful because basically Good question. Basically, an internal chatbot. So nothing compared to ChatGPT or something like that. Not just question and answering. Some people said, "Hey, we have SAP. SAP is a cool ERP system, but sometimes a little bit complex. And if I need material from the warehouse, I need it one time a year, and I do not really know how to book it out from the system that I get my samples on hand." And then some people said, how can we make it easier? Connecting internal chatbot to our ERP system and feeding it with information. And then I write, I need a sample, I need a screw for whatever reason to make a technology study or whatever. And then we connected the two systems. One IT guy helped us, and then we realized the first use case. It increased with further use cases like availability check. One sales guy is at the customer side. He needs to know, do I have it on stock, the product? And then next use case came up from nowhere that the sales guys said, hey, I have an idea. How can we realize it? We did not do any huge business case analysis or something like that. We just did it. So our slogan here is pioneering by pragmatism, and this is how we were successful. And this is the key advantage, in my point of view, how global hidden champions can leverage the advantages of AI, because combining the key characterizations of a global hidden champion or an SME, flat hierarchies, fast decision-making processes, combined with a clear focus on a certain product portfolio, you can leverage it by using AI. And this is the key potential in my point of view. You need to use your strength here that you are successful. So trust your people. Do not do it top-down, business cases, strategy discussions. Of course, it's important, but the second step, get experience by just making it, just be pragmatic, and then you can discuss afterwards next steps, roadmaps, and so on and so on. You need to get a feeling what you can really reach with AI, what are the potentials, and then make a holistic discussion, because often we have the tendency to be too much bureaucratic. I think everybody knows that, and you need just motivated people and trust the people, and do not stop any, let's say, activities and require some business cases or something like that. This was the key factor how we were successful, and now we are at the moment at the next step, that we discuss strategies, that we discuss AI organizations or something like that. But first step needs to be, it has to be a part-time job, and you need to trust your motivated people. And I think every company has such people. You do not need to search for them or something like that. Let them do their work. This is how we were successful.
Wonderful. Congratulations to that.
Thank you.
Now, Timo Gessmann, probably you are a motivated person as well. At Schunk, you are responsible for product and technology portfolio development. So perhaps from your perspective, similar stories, did the AI completely mix up your portfolio strategy, or is it integral part? Thanks for your insights.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation, and thanks for the good introduction. And pretty much I can just agree with what you just mentioned. Also for us, we are a mechanical engineering company, so we're dealing with mechanical components. Normally we're getting raw materials like aluminum and steel, and then we do it as Krcmar mentioned, we do something without it. So from steel, our tools help to produce an engine or turbines for aeroplanes engines or something like that. So that means our tools help to produce very accurate things of steel and aluminum. So you can measure it before, you see it in micrometers, nanometers, and you can see what you are doing. So that's where we are come from. So we are very strong in automotive industry, but also aerospace. Our tools help to produce those things. And we're also in the field of robotics. So we're providing the hands for robotics. So each robot needs a hand to do something. And also there you see what our products can help, and you have it in the hand. And challenging for us is coming from this mechanical thing, talking about software and AI, you cannot see it. And you cannot measure it, whether those are 5 micrometers or 4 micrometers. And so that's a challenge, how to trust and also inspire people that they use the technology which you cannot see at the beginning. And we see a lot of, or we already implement a lot of topics, like you mentioned, process optimization, but we also have applications in the industry. So for instance, we produce tool holders for machine tools, a tool holder like a drilling machine who holds the drill. And in the past, it was only made of steel, so just a mechanical component. And then we thought about, what about if we take a sensor, a acceleration sensor, which is in each of your smartphone, where you can measure doing your steps. We introduce the sensor into our machine tool holder. And of course, machine tool, we don't measure how many steps the machine is doing, but we are now able to measure the vibrations of a production process, of a drilling process. And by doing this, we got insights about the process, and it's all about process optimization. And the data helps us to optimize and support the operator to automate the process itself. And normally it's done by the people. We have an operator who changes the speed or the feed of the machine. And he's using his gut feeling. And it's also, when I talk then to the people, so please describe me your gut feeling. So like if I ask you, please describe how you do bicycle racing, how you do it. It's a process. And I think it's very important for us as a mechanical company. We have a lot of process knowledge. It's in the people. But if you ask him, please describe how you do produce it, how do you bicycle racing, or if you ask a Formula 1 race car driver, how do you do the race car driving, it's difficult to describe the process. And the sensor and technology help us to get feedback, real-time feedback of the process itself, to describe it, and then to optimize the process. And I think it's all about the people. And for me, it was last year eye-opening. We did a town hall meeting, we invited all people of the companies. We believe AI affects everybody, not only R&D or marketing, we invite everybody. And then we just talked about AI and talk about use cases and invite everybody to think about. And there came up ideas we haven't even dreamed of, and we get them to trust and say, just do it, just make it, and then we get hundreds of use cases currently, which we are now enabling and using every day.
So would you say applying AI is already a vital competitive advantage for your company? It's not just nice to have, it has a significant impact on your competitiveness.
Yes, definitely. Since as mentioned, so our people are our competitive advantage, and we, of course, as technology leader, and we want to stay a technology leader, we need latest technology. And we are in the automation business. It's all about to automate business and help the people to get better products. And as mentioned with the example of tool holders, also with the example in robotics, we use the power of robotics, of the vision sensors to optimize very complex assembly processes. So robots are doing very complex tasks, and you don't know before what the robot is doing. And we enable our products, like the gripping tools with AI, to get better results at our customers. So it helps us to do the business externally, but also internally.
Thank you. So now we don't want to turn that into something like a promotion event. So perhaps, Frauke Goll, after so many positive examples, do you have some negative ones? Something that went completely wrong with applying AI in an SME, or at least where do you see some particular risks and threats that people of a medium-sized company should be aware of?
Yeah, so actually we see, of course, a lot of fear in the people sometimes. Or what we can see at the moment is really what comes up that with this ChatGPT coming up last year, everyone tried and used it, but actually the companies now are starting to say, okay, how can we really make a rule out of it, and how can we really integrate this in our new work processes, you could say. So, and this was very important, what Timo says. It is not only in the production or in software engineering. It's really in every department. So it's in HR, it's in finance, everywhere in the company. And they're thinking now, how can we make use out of using AI technologies, especially Gen AI, to improve or make our workflows different. And this is something that came up, and what we see that there are more questions on that. And I also really like what Patrick Eichenseer said before. You do not need to have the whole organization be changed at one point and integrate AI in any process, in every product, and so on. It's very important to start at a single point and do little projects. Do them at different points. Have one in HR, have one in the production, and learn what can AI do for you, and then you can really, go step by step and integrate those new technologies in the processes.
Thank you. Helmut, perhaps a follow-up question to you. Our SME, in particular in Germany, they are superheroes in standardization. We are the country of the DEHN norm. We have thousands of ISO norms that we apply for each and everything. What about an ISO for artificial intelligence? What about standards for implementing AI in a company to make sure that you use the right AI for the right purpose? Is something like that existing? Do we need it, or don't we need it at all?
That's a great question. When do you standardize? When are you able to standardize on a process or on a product? And I think what comes to mind is this notion that best practice can be best past practice a year later. And that depends on the context. I think you both worked with a context where you use the people and their knowledge of a problem to be solved to have a discovery process. And in the end, it's not quite clear what exactly in product classes you can do. Think back. You could think back about 1992, internet and the first bubble, what the debate was there. What can you do with it? Everybody tried to understand what you can do with it, and I remember the very first business model classifications that were utterly boring. From today's, with hindsight. So we need to understand that we are in a time in a time of this change process where to standardize it means to standardize it at a very early, unexperienced level. It's like asking a, let's say, 6-year-old to take your bicycling example, give me all the situations on how to bicycle. Or Davos, skiing, you've done skiing now for 3 days, tell me all the different things that you can do in skiing. It's a completely different answer than an experienced person would give along by classifying use cases. So it's, I think, very important for us to understand that the global champions are very capable of doing exactly what they have been trained for, solve problems they have and their customers have, and take that as a reason to do something pretty simple, like many researchers do. This is an interesting problem, and let me understand the thing. In 5 years down the road, when the stuff gets stable, when you kind of have a lower curve of permanent change, you could start to standardize much more on the classifications of the use cases. If we study the literature and classification of use cases of Gen AI, okay, they change every publication that comes out. Davenport and others change their classification every 6 months. The speed is very high, so it doesn't make any sense to more classify than to pragmatically look for problem-driven issues. That is, of course, something that can be combined with what Amy Webb said, technical foresight. What will probably happen? And that's where the societal debate about fear comes in. If you talk about AI and work and all these things, well, that is exactly the same debate that we had with internet and work. that we had with PCs in work, that we had with mobile computing in work. We have to find out the new ways that we can do things. And Timo's example was exactly that. Without sensors in the actual gripping device, you can't really measure the vibrations, then you don't have the data. What can you do if you have all the other things available and have the next tools around? So it's really this fitting problem, and one of the key issues to me is to make sure that the people are capable of trying it out. This digital savviness where they are enabled, empowered to say, hey, let me use this tool, I understand enough to do something with it, and then I know other people, other institutions that can help me, but I can adequately describe the problem that I would like to solve.
Maybe I can add, I completely agree, I can add on that point about standardization. For me also, when I started within Schunk, we had thousands of processes, and it was standardized what to do. And it was described at each step. And then I learned, okay, it makes no sense to describe what to do, but to empower the people to understand why we have to do that. And that's the same as with AI. So it's about train the people to understand that why they have to do, what to do, and how to do their best. They have to know by themselves. So it makes no sense to add an additional checklist and processes. If I empower the people that they understand why and what is the bad and challenging things about AI, what are the good things, that I train the people on there, then I can reduce, and that's what we have done, we reduced a lot of checklists and processes for the normal doing, since we empower the people to have the capabilities and the competences to understand. And I think that would, at least for me, approach, also with AI, to get more trainings and to talk more about, and I learned also yesterday in the keynotes here about what are the impact of AI, the challenging and the chances, and then to talk about that.
I think it doesn't make sense for industrial companies to have more pilots than an airline. So you have many companies that do pilot after pilot, proof of concept after proof of concept. And then this chair, I think 2 days ago, Martin Kuhn from Coherent said, well, we do the algorithms and then comes the yucky stuff. And that yucky stuff is it when you exactly bring it into production. That's where many industrial computer vision cases fail, because they work in one instance. When you try to roll it out, you realize, wait a second, that doesn't work, but that's where the benefit is. So I think it's very important for companies to learn, and you do that, to how to get the technical capability, the affordances that this technology has, into actual benefit for the company. Because then you can take that, and that is something that you could standardize over time when you have enough experience, which of the considerations of the next steps you can actually bring forward into the development of the algorithm, into the development of the first prototype. But right now that would be putting too much weight on finding out where is the benefit, is it really beneficial, does it really make a difference?
I see. Now, Patrick Eichenseer, you look like a fearless person, so probably you also have high ambitions regarding applications, future developments of AI applications in your company. What is on your wish list? How powerful should AI become to make your job much easier? And perhaps how powerful would it have to become to make your job redundant, if possible?
So the vision is that not our job is easier compared to before. I want to make the jobs for everybody easier, and that the whole organization understands the potential of AI and to take them the fear away. So how to do that? We want to bring AI broadly into our organization, for instance, by trainings, what can you do with AI? And we want to say to the organization, AI will not replace you, but AI will replace you when you not use AI. So the usage of AI is the key and should be the key for everybody. And we have, for instance, something like a IT community where we bring to the people, and everybody can participate in, where we want to bring the people new technologies on hand. And for instance, something like AI, when I can name something, the Copilot, which was introduced a few weeks ago. And then we offer them trainings. So then we say to them, hey, you can use AI in future to make a draft for an email, or to optimize your Excel analysis, or to summarize meetings or whatever, just to show them really basic use cases that they collect interest. And this is the key for the leverage of AI, because you can introduce a lot of AI use cases, but if nobody uses that, you do not have efficiency. And this is the key for internal efficiency gains. Of course, saving costs is one positive consequence out of that. This is basically my personal vision, that we want to bring AI in a broad usage internally, and then everything after that, so emerging new use cases and so on and so on and so on. This, there is no effort, because the people will do that by themselves. But if you do not catch them, they have no interest. They says AI is stupid or evil or whatever, and then you do not have this drive to bring it from bottom up. Then you need a top-down approach, and top-down, in this case, in my point of view, will not work. So this is our strategy. Start with easy use cases in the broad organization. Of course, we have also very special use cases where we started from, where you need domain knowledge, like predictive analytics and so on. But it's a mixture between all of it. But do not forget the really basic tasks, the guys that are not really technology interested from a basic point of view. Do not forget them, because you need them. You need their domain knowledge, and you need to catch them in regard to the interest of AI.
Perfect. Now let's see if we have some questions from the audience. Is anybody? I don't know who was faster, but I'm looking into that, so you're lucky. Please.
I will try to say this way. I was listening the whole week to some AI and data and in the health sector. You were the first, Frauke and Goll, who told us that your AI is as good as your data are. And then you told that we can calculate the business case. And the most pragmatic case for health would be stay healthy. This is the best medicine. And I would like to discuss with you how to calculate an AI business case on healthy people. And it would be a data business case. Who will buy the data, most probably, and not the intervention, not the diagnosis. And therefore, we have to really rethink, and not only digitize, we have to think about new cases. And we are easy to come to Munich.
Okay. I was holding up my hand. I wear this lovely patient-generated health data device because we have one health case. At least in Germany, depression is a major psychological sickness. So we got together with the psychiatry departments of the 2 Munich university clinics to try and develop a service system. And translate, I changed the lingo from a product to a service system where patient-generated health data, like the sensor in your grip, enables general physicians or general practitioners and their staff to kind of use early warning signs for depression onset. You might say, how do you do that? Well, the psychiatrists know some of that stuff. They would say something about sleep patterns, about heart rate variability, and all that things that you know from the experts. And we are the, what they call tech fuzzies, the guys that do the yucky stuff. And we said, look, you could integrate data that is produced by the person themselves if you analyze it, so it's easy enough to reduce the hurdle to actually use it. So it really is about a prevention case. And then you don't need much mathematics to find out how much that would be actually to enable. However, the proof is, as always, in the pudding. You have to try it out. It's interesting to envision the use case, and many of the studies that are negotiated here at the World Economic Forum have a lot of assumptions in them. But the true effect sizes, the true benefits, they need to actually measure it. So we're now going about and find out, okay, how exactly, what's the effect size of that utilization, because then you have the major layers. But you have to try it out. And actually, it's like convincing people in a company to actually use it, you need to excite general practitioners, you need to excite the humans that carry those devices to perhaps find something. And I think that's important to understand, that technology allows us to tackle problems we couldn't tackle easily enough before. So it lowers the hurdle rate to make the next democratizing stage, like low code, no code. It now does that with data analytics. And if it's low code and if it's available for everybody, we need to enable those people to do it for what they actually needed to solve their problems. Can be very different things. So in healthcare, we will have many applications, but it's always then a very multi-stakeholder side. Inside a company, it seems easy. It's not easy, but if you go into societal systems with multi-stakeholder issues, complex would be a little bit too simple. So it becomes a wicked problem. Very interesting to get to navigate through that, but you now have tools that you could actually do it.
Actually, pragmatically.
Pragmatically.
Yes, we can. Yes, we do.
Exactly.
JDI, just do it.
Good.
Yeah.
So the two of you should continue the discussion.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to go to Munich, you could go to Heilbronn as well.
That's right.
But we had another question over here.
So I was curious what
There is a very interesting, if you observe it, hidden bias. The two examples, you are now the examples, are not in using AI for hiring processes or medical diagnosis or anything else, but we're on purpose into improving production processes on the machine level. And I think that was, I would say, an unfair bias towards an issue where the issues of do no harm, the issues of ethical considerations of do you have an ethics board that look at the use cases if they could do harm to humans, and the question of human augmentation came only up when we thought about, okay, how do you change work behavior? But we took those two examples in designing the panel because we wanted to focus on that exact level and not say, okay, we'll talk about the AI in general. Okay, standards, that was an interesting question. The IEEE standards on this issue that you mentioned, and that is a lovely difference between Anglo-Saxon standard setting of best practices and kind of DEHN standard settings on what regulatory framework do we actually propose. So we could exchange a little on why the notions of setting a standard or a norm, as Daniel mentioned, might be a different way of setting a standard that you will have an Anglo-Saxon tradition of standards. That's chat.
Frauke Goll, in your work, do you experience these ethical aspects very often?
Actually, I really loved your question because I think this is really very, very important to have this holistic view and really to integrate different disciplines when it comes to the development and the application of AI technology. So actually, I'm totally with you because we have the bias of these use cases here, but in general, and it is absolutely important, and I love to have more also socioeconomics within the development of AI and within the process. But actually what I also liked very much in both companies is that they really try to get all employees get the vision of what can AI do and what can it not do, because this is also a first step when it comes to ethics and especially digital and technology sovereignty. And this is very important in my opinion, and therefore, the topic is addressed or needs to be addressed absolutely.
data slavery or
Yeah.
sovereignty.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
The question is always, in my point of view, what comes first, the use cases or standardization, ethic-related discussions or something like that. And the difficulty for us as companies is to have this discussion. Do we want to make first a framework, internal framework regarding standards, who is allowed to use it, who not? And our experience was that we are much more faster just to start. So pioneering by pragmatism. Nevertheless, it doesn't mean that these discussions are not important. So I think it has to perform simultaneously, because otherwise you're too slow. The question is, can you catch the lost time up? And we, from our point of view, find this approach as the right way to stay competitive on the one side. We want to get first experiences, because without experiences we cannot discuss about AI when we do not really know what it is able to and what not. Nevertheless, I would not say that these discussions are not important. So I think it has to be a mixture of both.
Helmut, Krcmar, you...
I'd like to get in a debate with you. If there is this European AI Act where you classify AI applications, if you take the use cases you have realized in your companies, where would you put them in that classification? Where would they be in the risk category? And to me, it often seems to be that in the production-oriented companies, some shy away, rightfully so, from things that would be in the higher up classifications that will have an ethical case on whether you can do it, and apply it very much into the production setting, with that enabling people to have an understanding of what the technology can do and should not do. So really enabling that debate. So it really is interesting where you start and which cases you do. Yesterday we heard a case of a large company said, no, we don't do the CV analysis case because it will lead to a problematic situation, so it would do harm in the long run. Bias-wise. Yeah.
And by the way, yesterday, in preparing that panel, I asked ChatGPT, how can we unlock your potential for global hidden champions? And it gave, as you know, these ChatGPT answers was a long answer. It was not really wrong, but also not really interesting. And ChatGPT mentioned, be aware of the ethical issue as point number 4 or 5. So at least the AI is aware of ethical issues. I think we have time for 1 or 2 more questions, if there is any, or comments. Over there, please.
Also thinking about that in the development, if you develop new products, new software like AI or like DLT, distributed ledger technology, also very energy expensive. So that's why what our approach is, as mentioned, to train the people that they find the best use cases, how to use new technology. In our example, what we are doing with the manufacturing company, we produce mechanical products. We only use mechanical steel. The challenge is, as mentioned in my example, if the machine operator has the wrong speed or feed of the machine tool, then what is produced is trash. So we produce steel as an engine, and then we have to throw it away since the output product is not perfect, since the machine was not perfectly operated. And this operation process, which is done everywhere worldwide, so there are millions of machine tool companies outside and end customers like small companies, 5 people, 4 people, all over the world. And all of them, they produce mechanical things. If we now share our expert knowledge, that's also what I see with the role of European manufacturers. We have expert knowledge, process knowledge, how to manufacture this steel with best. We cannot describe it, as mentioned, it's a process. But if we use AI in a sensor I mentioned, then we can optimize the process all over the world if they're using those tools, and we can reduce trash. So there is no bad products coming out. You are right, we have to install electronics and software, but currently we don't have our own GPT model trained by us. We just use what is outside there. So this is, I hope that's not that energy. So the infrastructure is energy consumption, but not by us. We just bring it to application. And bring it to application, so from our thinking, we save energy since we reduce producing bad parts worldwide.
Classic scope 3 argumentation. That's a classic scope 3 argumentation to maintain. I think.
Answer, please, because I think we are running out of time.
So. Yes. I think there are major differences in availability, major differences in regulatory context, major differences, and at least from a German perspective, attitude towards opportunities and risks of technology-based change, including all kind of ethical considerations when and to what strengths to do. So there are many differences. What you see globally in the use cases being traded by the experts, they're relatively similar as a use case. But if you look at the adoption rate of various use cases, let's say hiring use cases in the human resource section of companies, vast differences.
So, I think I have 30 seconds left for a high-speed wrap-up. That will be quite challenging, and there are probably many topics not having been discussed on that stage. I see in the audience somebody with the SDG button. We did not talk about how could AI help companies to reach sustainable development goals. Many other topics that eventually you may wish to continue discussing with the panelists right after that panel. This was a thrilling and exciting experience, and it shows us that AI is already being applied. It helps us already. So I think if we do the same panel next time, next year again, we may change the title and say, how could global hidden champions unlock the potential of AI for their customers, for their partners, for others? Eventually, that is a great USP. And let's think about whether next year at Davos we could also invite the AI as a panelist to that stage and ask itself. But as long as that does not work, it was a pleasure to talk to all of you and wish you a great last day in Davos. Thank you.